Yonder actual service. In today's very short video, I'll be showing you a quick trick to avoid ever having to sew buttonholes on your projects. So I know I haven't uploaded much for a while. That's simply because Christmas is an incredibly busy time of year, so I just thought that I would film a very quick video so that I've put something on the channel. And I was doing some room tidying. I know it's still a mess, it hasn't really worked, and I found some stuff that I'd made in the past, and it gave me the idea to make this video because I thought this is something that you guys really need to know. Firstly, this is a waistcoat I made about a year ago for a Hobbit costume. I do probably more sewing than most people, but clothes like this, it's just a waistcoat I'll wear day to day, and people ask me where I got stuff and I'll say I made it, and they're always amazed, and they always say, oh, I could never do something like that. And I ask them if they've got a sewing machine, and very often they'll say yes, but it doesn't do buttonholes. And it's strange how something as simple as that can be such a barrier to some people to stop them from actually ever trying a project, because yes, this is a hand sewn buttonhole because my sewing machine doesn't do buttonholes, but it's also not the only way of fastening clothing, so it's not really a thing that should actually stop you from making stuff. When I first started making dwarven clothing for doing fantasy reenactment, buttonholes like this was way out of my league, and if I thought that I had to do those, I would probably never have started, but instead I just ended up working out a way of not having to do those, and I'll show you that now. This is, I think, the first piece of fantasy reenactment gear I ever made. It's like a waistcoat basically, but it's a little bit longer, but it's not as long as a surcoat, so I can get away with wearing it with everyday clothes as well. And as you can see, it's very worn out. It's made very simply from an army blanket, copying a waistcoat pattern, and all I did was make it just a little bit longer. And in order to do the buttonholes, because I didn't know how to do buttonholes, I just sewed a button on both sides of the front of the clothing and used a leather tab with 2 slits cut in it to join them together. And it's really easy. You can use any sort of leather that you happen to have, like off an old leather jacket or off a upholstery supplier or something like that. You can even use vinyl leather and nobody would be able to tell, and it just works. In fact, it works so well I haven't stopped using it now I've learnt how to do buttonholes, because to be honest, I think that has a more dwarven aesthetic than buttonholes anyway. This one here is the wool surcoat that I was wearing in the video intro for this video, and as you can see it's done in exactly the same way, but for this one I didn't even bother to cut the leather tabs into neat shapes because it doesn't really detract from how it looks that much. So I guess that shows you that buttonholes aren't a requirement for making clothing, and on the very, very small chance that there's any of you out there who haven't started trying to make clothes because you don't know how to hand sew buttonholes or are perhaps not very good at hand sewing, then don't let that stop you and have a go, because everything on this surcoat here is sewn on a sewing machine except for the embroidery here, and I haven't done any buttonholes, and it works great. So I hope that some of you found that useful. If you did, and if you use it, please let me know down in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.